Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to a special deep dive we put together just for you.
Great to be here.
Instead of you having to sift through, tons of papers, we've basically boiled down the key stuff from our 10th season.
Yeah, it was a big season focusing on digital innovation in pharma.
Exactly. So think of this as your fast track to understanding how technology isn't just, like, tweaking things anymore. It's really reshaping the future of medicine.
Fundamentally changing it.
We'll revisit some key talks, pull from our past deep dives, and crucially, tie it into real-world examples.
And we'll be looking at some OPR&D sources, too, to ground it in current research.
Right. The mission today: connect the big digital trends, AI, biomarkers, analytics, to what's coming next in pharma R&D.
We want to synthesize what we've learned and project forward a bit.
We're aiming for those aha moments, but, keeping it clear, not getting lost in the weeds.
Absolutely. It's pretty amazing looking back at Season 10 just how fast these digital tools are becoming, well, standard practice.
It feels like warp speed sometimes.
It really does. And these trends, they aren't separate things. They're all interconnected, building on each other. It's creating a whole new way of doing things in pharma.
Okay, let's dive right in then. Starting with artificial intelligence, AI. It still feels like we've only just scratched the surface, even with all we discussed.
Oh, absolutely. And what's really striking now is the scale AI is being used at.
Scale. How so?
Well, we talked about platforms like Benevolent AI, right? Their work gives a fantastic window into how AI can speed up finding drug targets.
Right, across different diseases.
Exactly. From things like dermatitis to really complex areas like oncology. Instead of researchers digging through data for years.
AI does it in months, weeks.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Finding connections, identifying promising candidates. And we're actually seeing AI-discovered compounds entering clinical trials now. That's real acceleration.
The compression of timelines is just incredible. And it wasn't just solo efforts, was it? The collaboration seemed really key.
That's a great point. The Benevolent AI and AstraZeneca partnership we looked at, that really showed the power of combining AI's analytical ability with, the deep biological knowledge of a big pharma company.
So AI plus human expertise.
Precisely. Applying AI to tricky conditions like pulmonary fibrosis or autoimmune diseases, they're not just confirming known pathways, they're uncovering new links, potential targets humans might have missed.
Seem beyond what we already know.
That's the game changer, really.
So it's faster and it opens up totally new research avenues. But AI wasn't just for discovery, right? It played a role later on, too.
Exactly. We also dug into its role after a drug is approved. Post-marketing surveillance.
Oh, yeah, safety monitoring.
Right. AI-driven signal detection there is like having this super vigilant system constantly scanning real-world patient data.
Instead of just waiting for doctors or patients to report side effects.
Yeah. AI can spot subtle patterns, potential safety flags that might otherwise take much longer to emerge. It means quicker responses, better patient safety.
Like a really smart early warning system for drugs already out there.
Perfectly put. And that ability extends to predicting how different patients might actually respond.
Ah, personalization.
Getting closer. By analyzing real-world data with machine learning, we can start building models to predict who's likely to benefit most or who might be at higher risk of side effects.
Moving towards tailoring treatments more precisely.
That's the goal. It makes personalized medicine feel much less like, science fiction.
And I remember we even touched on AI looking at unstructured data, like patient forums online.
Yes. What's really insightful there is AI's ability to process that sort of collective patient experience, something clinical trials, with their controlled settings, often miss.
So what patients are actually saying happens to them.
Exactly. Analyzing forum discussions, social media, AI can pick up recurring themes about how well a drug works, side effects, even quality of life impacts. It adds this really rich, nuanced layer to understanding the drug.
Okay, AI is clearly massive, foundational. Let's shift gears slightly to biomarkers. These felt really key for making drug development more efficient.
That's a really good way to put it. Biomarkers have huge potential, as we discussed, to change clinical trials. They give us early signs if a drug is actually working.
Like biological signposts.
Exactly. Measurable signs telling us if we're on the right path long before we see the final clinical result, like, say, reduced hospitalizations. Getting those early signals can massively speed up decisions.
So instead of a multi-year trial waiting to see if heart attacks decrease, you might see a biomarker change much sooner that strongly suggests it will.
Precisely. And that's where PK/PD comes in pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics.
Right, PK is what the body does to the drug.
Absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, ADME, looking at drug concentration over time.
And then PD is what the drug does to the body.
Yep. So by linking biomarker changes to that PK/PD profile, we can build these sophisticated models. They help predict effectiveness and safety much earlier on. Crucial data for those gonna-go decisions.
Sounds like it could shave off significant time and money from development.
It really has that potential. Using reliable biomarkers means we can design smarter trials, maybe fewer patients, maybe shorter durations to show a drug works.
Which gets treatments to patients faster.
Ultimately, yes, it saves resources and speeds up access.
Okay, moving to our next big area from Season 10, advanced analytical techniques. Mass spectrometry came up a lot. Seems like its power is just constantly growing.
Oh, definitely. Mass spec is, well, it's become an absolute workhorse in pharma analysis.
The basics again, it identifies and quantifies molecules.
At its core, yes. Think of it like a super-sensitive scale that not only weighs molecules but tells you about their structure, essential for checking drug quality and understanding behavior.
And it's often paired with chromatography. LCMS, GCMS, what does that add?
Good question. Chromatography is basically a sorting step. Before the mass spec sees the sample, chromatography separates the different molecules in the mixture based on their chemistry.
Ah, so it cleans up the sample first.
Sort of. It separates the components. So LCMS, GCMS, they combine that separation power with mass spec's percents identification. Lets us analyze really complex stuff and find exactly what we're looking for, even tiny impurities.
Like sorting all the ingredients in a soup before analyzing each one perfectly.
That's a great analogy. And the technology just keeps getting better, more sensitive, more accurate, faster, which we need because drugs are getting more complex. Biologics, gene therapies.
Requires more precision to analyze them.
Down to the finest detail, ensuring purity and stability.
And these techniques are used all over, right? Not just in development.
Absolutely. We talked about their role in pharmacokinetics, measuring drug levels in blood, for instance. Very important.
Understanding how the body handles the drug.
Right. And in vitro studies, too, predicting drug interactions by seeing how enzymes metabolize them. And, of course, high-throughput screening relies heavily on them.
Testing thousands of potential drug candidates quickly.
Exactly. It's fundamental there.
Amazing how these tools enable whole new approaches. Okay, the last major piece from Season 10 was real-world evidence, RWE. This felt like getting outside the clinical trial bubble.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
Right.
Clinical trials are the bedrock for approval, no question. But RWE gives that complementary view. How does the drug actually perform out in the messy real world?
With diverse patients, other conditions, other meds.
All of that. It's about understanding the drug's impact in routine clinical practice across a much broader population.
And where does all this RWE data come from?
Lots of places. Electronic health records, EHRs, are a huge source. Insurance claims data gives insights into treatment patterns.
Patient registries, too.
Yes. Registries for specific diseases or treatments offer detailed long-term data. And, linking back to AI, even patient-reported data, like we discussed from online sources, can add value when analyzed properly.
So piecing together the bigger picture of performance post-approval.
Precisely. And analyzing these huge RWE data sets, that often needs sophisticated platforms, sometimes AI-powered tools, to spot trends or safety signals that maybe weren't obvious in the trials.
So it allows for ongoing monitoring, a deeper understanding over time.
Exactly. It complements the trial data beautifully.
Okay, that's a fantastic recap of those key digital pillars from Season 10. Now, the exciting part looking forward, how do you see these technologies evolving, continuing to shape pharma's future?
Well, building on what we've seen, I think we can expect AI to become even more integrated, not just in pockets, but woven across the entire drug life cycle.
Permeating everything.
I think so. From the very start, identifying novel targets, maybe even designing molecules, right through to really personalized treatment plans.
Beyond just target ID and safety monitoring, you mean?
Oh, absolutely. Imagine AI not just finding a target, but helping design the best molecule to hit it. We're seeing early steps there. As the algorithms get smarter, their predictive power for drug properties will just skyrocket. And then, by constantly learning from individual patient data, real-world outcomes, AI could become central to tailoring treatments, optimizing dose, predicting side effects for that specific person.
That AI-driven personalized medicine really does feel like the next big leap. What about biomarkers? Where do they go from here?
I think we'll see biomarkers become much more refined, more predictive, not just for PK/PD, but really driving patient selection in trials.
Stratification, identifying likely responders.
Exactly. Finding the patients most likely to benefit before the trial starts, and maybe even developing dynamic biomarkers.
Dynamic, meaning
Ones that give real-time feedback on how the treatment is working, allowing doctors to adjust therapy on the fly based on those biological signals, moving towards truly precision-guided treatment.
monitoring and adjusting in real time based on biology. That's powerful. And analytical tech, with drugs getting more complex.
The move towards complex delivery systems, nanoparticles, advanced biologics, it absolutely demands better analytical tools.
To characterize them properly.
We'll need even higher sensitivity, higher resolution to understand these complex systems, ensure their quality, stability, make sure the drug gets released where it should. Things like multidimensional mass spec, advanced microscopy, they'll be vital.
Nanoparticles seem like a big challenge there.
They are, ensuring consistent size, shape, drug load, how they behave in the body. It needs really sophisticated methods. OPR&D literature is full of work tackling exactly these challenges.
Right, you mentioned OPR&D sources. Did any specific examples jump out illustrating this convergence?
Yes, definitely. Looking through recent OPR&D papers, there's a really clear trend of applying AI and machine learning to optimize manufacturing processes.
Not just discovery, but actually making the drugs.
Exactly. Using AI to predict potential quality issues during production, allowing for adjustments before things go wrong, ensuring consistency, reducing waste. It shows AI's reach extending right into manufacturing reliability.
That's fascinating. AI ensuring the drugs are made efficiently and safely, too.
Right. And another strong theme in OPR&D is the constant development of analytical methods specifically for complex biologics. Monoclonal antibodies, cell therapies.
The newer types of drugs.
Yeah. As these become more common, the need for super specialized, highly sensitive analytical methods to guarantee safety and efficacy is just paramount. OPR&D is often where you see that cutting-edge work published first.
It really paints a picture of a much more integrated, tech-driven future.
It really does. And this synergy, data science, AI, advanced analytics, it holds the key to tackling some of pharma's biggest hurdles, hopefully leading to faster development, more personalized drugs.
And better patient outcomes?
Ultimately, that's the goal.
Okay, and let's not forget that growing mountain of real-world data. How does that fit into the future vision?
Its importance will only grow. Think about interconnected data sources, EHRs, wearables sending continuous data, patient self-reporting.
A much more complete picture of health and treatment effects.
Exactly. A really holistic view of drug effectiveness and safety in day-to-day life. This rich data stream could genuinely inform regulators more dynamically.
Leading to more adaptive approvals, maybe? Labels updated based on real-world performance?
That's certainly a possibility. A more evidence-driven, responsive regulatory system seems plausible, leveraging all that real-world insight.
It feels like heading towards a future where development and regulation are more agile, more directly tuned into patient experience.
I think that's a fair assessment.
So bringing it all together,
Yeah.
these digital innovations aren't just trends, are they? They're fundamental shifts.
Absolutely. Transforming how drugs are discovered, developed, made, monitored, the whole life cycle.
The potential for efficiency gains, truly personal treatments, better outcomes. It
Yep.
feels tangible.
It does. And that leads us to a final thought, really, for you, the listener.
Okay.
As we see this convergence, massive data, smart AI, incredible analytical tools, how does this change your understanding of pharma innovation? What impact do you think it will have on healthcare overall?
And maybe what new questions or even ethical points does it raise?
Good point. What new expectations might arise from all this?
Definitely something to chew on. Thank you for joining us on this special deep dive, looking back at Season 10 and peering into the digital future of pharma.
It's been a fascinating discussion.
We hope this overview gave you some valuable insights. Keep exploring these fields. They're certainly not standing still. Until our next deep dive, stay curious.